Hi guys, and welcome to Obsession Car Detailing. My name is Saad, and behind me we have an Audi RS5 that's in for a multi-stage paint correction to get the paint to 90 to 95%, I would say. Taking the wheels off, we're getting them refurbed, we're coating them, and of course we're coating the paintwork with opti-coat Pro Plus. The car has had a hard life. It's got a lot of water spots, a lot of swirl marks, lots of etching, and I did a test spot last night. We washed the car, did a test spot last night, so now we're ready to go into it and get straight into it and begin the correction step. So let's go. So the paint on this thing is pretty bad, as you can see. The weapon of choice to begin with, we're going to start off using Concours Precision, along with the Roops 21 of course, and the Lake Country blue HDO pad, this one here. I've already done a test spot using this on the bonnet and got real good results. The only problem here is that the bonnet, the bumper, the front end has been resprayed recently, so the paint there is going to be different. Hopefully the same combination will work on the original factory paint, but the only way to find out is to test it. Okay, so we just did a test spot using the Concours Precision and the Lake Country blue pad, getting really good results. I think that's what I'm going to use. The only problem is I have very little left, so hopefully we'll have enough to do the whole car. If not, we'll have to change it up later on. Alright, so bumpers are traditionally very bad and very scratched up, like this one here. So we're going to be using the microfiber pad on this one. So you can see there how bad it is. So we just polished part of the rear bumper. We used a Meguiar's M101, my old favorite, and a Optimum wool pad on the Roops Mini. Gave us a real good cut, real nice finish. As I mentioned, the paint on bumpers tends to be a lot harder than on the rest of the car, which is why I used this fairly aggressive combination. I was planning to use microfiber, but all my 3-inch microfibers are in the wash. So the wool is actually as good, if not better, in many ways. Just polished half of the boot lid there. Not happy with the results I'm getting. Well, actually I am pretty happy, but there's a few random deeper scratches that aren't coming out with the cutting compound. So I'm just going to hit it with a bit of 3000 grit to try and do that. It won't add too much time, and it's an important part of the car, so I think it's important to try and get this perfect. So we'll just hit it with some 3000 grit and see how we go. So going to be using a 3000 grit sanding pad and Optimum no rinse to do some damp sanding. Let's take this one off. And I've got a foam interface pad as well, or I did rather, ready to go. All right, so we've got the foam interface pad, just stick that onto there. Now these sanding pads do have a bit of foam in them, but using a bit more on interface gives us a nicer finish. And because we're not trying to level peel here, all we're doing is removing defects. If you use a harder surface, then you can change the texture of the paint too much. So here we are. Light spray, rock and roll rinse. I think this spray bottle's had it. I just dropped it. And let's go. We'll go on speed 3. Alright guys, so this is after some compounding. Now we used the 21 here and it's kind of hard to capture on camera, but you can see a tiny bit of compound haze or some marring there. You can just see it in real life. I'm really not sure if it's going to turn up on camera or not. But again, this just demonstrates the importance of finishing the job and why it's important to follow up with a polish. Alright guys, so I've just discovered a fairly deep scratch on the rear quarter panel. I'm going to remove it because it's quite large, and I'm going to show you how we do that. So the first step is that we clean the area. Obviously we've already compounded the area and we've seen the scratch, and we've seen that the scratch won't come out with compounding. So we're going to start with 2000 grit. I'm using 2000 grit sandpaper on the Mini, which is a 12mm throw, and of course using a foam interface pad. I'm using Optimum No Rinse as the lubricant, and this is what's called damp sanding. We're not really getting the whole thing wet, we're just working damply. So I've sanded with the 2000 grit, and then I'll sand with 3000 grit to refine those marks a bit further. Now from 3000 you can go straight to compounding, but I find on this paint, which is fairly soft, it's better to go to 5000. So I'll go to 5000 grit using the Duetto, which is a larger machine with a 5-inch pad, and then from there we'll compound. And the idea is we're kind of feathering it out. So we work a small area with 2000, larger area with 3000, larger area still with 5000, and then we compound. And now, as you can see, the scratch is gone. Alright guys, so these are the hats for the brake rotors. This part is actually visible when the wheel is on, and you can see it's looking quite crusty and not good. And it's just little details like this I think is worth cleaning up. There's a few ways you can do this. I want to start off using a bit of wheel acid, and I'm going to spray it onto a cloth and just use this to get the majority of the gunk off. You can see that's working pretty well. You can also spray it on and leave it. That makes a bit of a mess on the floor though, so I'm not going to do that. So I'll just spray a bit more on. Make sure I'm using my gloved hand. You don't want to get hydrofluoric acid on your skin. So that's looking pretty good. You could leave it there, but for an extra 30 seconds, we'll get some 2000 grit wet and dry on the rotary and just polish it. You can also use steel wool for that, but it's easier and quicker to put it on the machine. The reason I'm using the rotary is because it's got the extension bars, so we can get in there. Without the rotary, using on the DA, it's hard to get right there, and I can't do these. Oh, here you go, this one is spinning, the fronts weren't, so here we could use the DA, but you could just turn them as well. So we'll do that. Important thing to note is that this sanding pad will have metal on it, so never ever use this on paint. Just throw it out or use it exclusively for jobs like this.
bit of O&R, and just on speed 1 really, just to give it a quick polish. And then just give it a wipe. And there you go. Huge difference. Takes a few minutes. And it's something, just these little details. And I think that looks fantastic and really helps with the you know, the final presentation of the car. All right, so we've cleaned the discs with acid, sanded them with a bit of sandpaper, and now we're just going to polish them with a bit of optimum metal polish. Has two things: it gives a nice sheen to the metal, and will also seal it to a degree as well. So optimum metal polish polishes and seals in one step. So we'll chuck that on the mini rotary and do that. So this, I'm just using a soft blue polishing pad. It's just some old one that I had lying around, and this one's already been used to polish, that's why it's gone black. But just a tiny bit of polish, the optimum metal polish, and just use it on slow speed. You can see it's going black because this pad's already been used, but that shouldn't matter too much. And I just slipped there because I was trying to talk and polish at the same time. Usually you would polish until it turns black. This is already black to begin with, so I just did it based on the one that I've already done. Get a towel and wipe off the residue, and you can see all the black there. And you just keep on wiping until no more black comes off. There we are, we've got a nice sheen on that now. As I keep buffing off the residue, it will get a bit shinier. And I think we're just about done. Just use cheap microfiber towels for this one. I'm just using these Costco ones. They're great for dirty jobs. Use them, then throw them away. And I think we're done. So that's, feels great, beautiful. It's got a nice sheen to it. All right, day 2 on the Audi RS5. Was here till about 11 o'clock last night. We finished cutting the roof, the rear bumper, the boot lid, and part of this we wet sanded a scratch up from there. Got to continue cutting this whole side of the car, and from there we'll start polishing. Hopefully to have most of it done by tonight, and tomorrow we'll just do any finishing touches. So let's get started. Big shout out to Wax It, who were able to express post overnight for me another bottle of precision cutting compound. As you know, I was using this yesterday with great success, but I basically ran out. So they were able to get it to me overnight. So this should make the job go a lot easier. Don't tell my wife that I took those M&Ms from home. She'll get angry at me. I've decided to whip the rotary out again and have a crack using that on this car. A few reasons. The rotary can be less fatiguing to use in this case, and getting a faster cut. It's leaving a lot of hologramming, a lot of marring, which is to be expected. We're still using precision and a wool pad to get those results, but it's removing the defects, chopping them down quickly, and I think a light intermediate step followed by a polish will be more than enough to fix that up. And I think overall the finish on the car will be a lot better as a result. So I'll show you the hologram, what we're talking about. Now this is commonly seen in a lot of cars that are polished by dealerships and cheap detailers, which is why I tell customers that if they're on a small budget, don't go to a detailer who said he'll cut and polish your car for $200 or $300, because it will end up looking like this. So what you're seeing there is hologramming. In real life it looks quite cool because it literally does look 3D, but it's not what your car is supposed to look like. And it's what happens when you hack at a car using a rotary without following it up correctly. So one of the top tips for paint correction is working clean. So I've got a bucket here and I blow out my pads in here. I can't take credit for this idea. I got this from Jim at White Details. Be sure to check him out on YouTube. He's the best detailing vlogger, I think. But basically we just use this. Now I have been experimenting using a vacuum cleaner with, you know, hooked up to a container, and that works as well, but it's not as convenient as this. But I'm going to be developing that idea further. I'm going to pick up a cheap vacuum cleaner from Bunnings and try and build something dedicated for that. But for the time being, this is pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's better than blowing it up in the, you know, just around. All right, before we begin polishing, I'm just going to do a quick intermediate step using Regenerate with a medium cutting pad. I'm just finding this will help give a better finish and will cut down the amount of time we just spend polishing. This won't take too long. We'll just do this in a few areas of the car, and then from there we can continue polishing. Alright, so it's day 2.5 really. We've finished the day. I've gone home, had some dinner, had a bit of a rest, and back. We had to take a break from the Audi just quickly because I've got a Volkswagen Golf all-track. Cool little raised all-wheel drive. Is it all-wheel drive? I'm not sure. Golf there. I had to polish and coat that. I had my trainee who's working for me right now polish that, so he's coming a long way and getting really good at that. So that will help with the business, with the shop greatly, having someone to help me. But anyway, it's 10 p.m. It's gonna be a late night tonight. I've kind of overbooked myself this week. I've got a Tesla Model X coming in tomorrow, so I need to finish the majority of this tomorrow, so that tomorrow morning I can get the Tesla done. I'll have to put that on the hoist actually because we're sending the wheels off to be repainted. So I'd better get cracking on this. We're nearly done. It's getting there and it's looking great, and it's been a fantastic journey on this one so far. I've just got the wheels back as well from my wheel guy. As you can see, they've come out absolutely stunning. No damage whatsoever. So he tells me that what he did was that he repainted the lips of them. Now these wheels are actually a diamond cut finish, so obviously you can't really do that without a CNC machine, but the cut marks on them were very minor. So we basically just matched that silver, repainted the edge of all of them, and then he scuffed up the rest of the wheel and then applied a satin clear coat over the whole wheel. And that's because some of the spokes had scratches in them, and being a satin finish you can't polish them out because that would make them go glossy. So we'll just zoom in and you can have a look as well of the rims, and you can see how nice they've turned out. So the owner is going to be thrilled with these, I'm sure of it.
Alright, so I'm just working on the bonnet. For some reason this bonnet has got a lot of water spotting on there, so I've ended up using Maguire's M101, which is my favourite compound really, in terms of how fast it works and how hard it cuts with a Maguire's microfiber pad. Using that speed 3.5 on the 21, we're getting a real nice finish there, and it's cutting through all the watermarks really easily. The important thing with watermarks is to really wipe the panel down carefully and make sure the panel is cool as well, because sometimes what can happen is the heat from the polisher can hide the watermarks. And then once the panel cools down, the watermarks appear again. These are what I like to call phantom marks. But I'm not having that problem here, which is really good. It means that these watermarks have not been there for too long, and having good success. So I'll continue working on that with M101, and then we'll do the intermediate step and then refine the whole car. So we're just using a bit of tar remover here to remove these tar spots from the wheels to get them nice and clean. We're not going to spend hours doing the wheels, we just want them to look somewhat presentable from the inside before we coat them. So you just saw there I was using the Roops hybrid. I recently bought this tool. It was kind of an impulse buy, but it was on sale, so I thought, why not? It's not bad. A quick review is that it works great as a rotary tool, and it's better if you use it with the power pack. It can be used, I think, for spot correction with the battery, with the 3mm or the 12mm. I personally think 3mm is just too small a throw for any sort of correction work. It's fine for denibbing, but I use this here just on the lower side skirts, and it worked really well. It's a lot easier to control than a rotary with an extension bar. So I think if you're doing a lot of correction work, you know, where people are demanding perfection, it's worth having. But for most people, I'd recommend getting the ShineMate rotary instead. But you know what, if you got the money, I think it's definitely worth having in the arsenal. So yeah, that's my 30-second review of the Roops hybrid. I might do a proper review later on. Let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested in a proper review. Good morning everyone. So day 3 on the Audi RS5. Well, it's more like day 4 or 5 really, considering the hours we've been putting into this car. Yesterday I was here till 5 a.m. It's now 9:30 a.m. so I had a few hours of sleep, and I'm feeling good and refreshed and ready to start working this car. Today the plan is to finish cutting. We just got the bumper to go. I'm going to investigate getting new badges and see if that's feasible, and just clean the brake calipers and coat the wheels, put them on. I've got a Tesla Model X coming in today, and we're taking those wheels off to be repainted because the boring silver just doesn't cut it for the owner of the car. So I need to get this car off the hoist today. So the key to that is get the wheels and the brakes done, and then we can coat the car off the hoist. Alright guys, so we finished cutting the car and doing all the wheels. Took quite a while to get all the wheels done. It's 1 o'clock now. Now, as a detailer, as an experimenter, as a car lover, I love experimenting, I love playing around, and I love learning. So as an experiment, I'm going to try doing an intermediate polishing step on this car using Maguire's M205 polish with the microfiber pads. Some of you may know of the Kevin Brown method of how you can use M205 as a cutting compound, but M205 is probably the most versatile polish / compound there really is. So I'm going to be using it as an intermediate step just to clean up any trace marks, and then I might end up using 205 as a finishing polish on a soft foam pad, or we might go to the hyper polish as well, but we'll see how we go. Alright guys, so continuing on, it's 10 p.m. at night. Today hasn't been all that productive. Well, actually it has. Last night was very productive until 5 a.m. But today, because of the Tesla and other happenings in the shop, I find it hard to get work done during the day sometimes because of, the number of people coming in and out, which is great. So to everyone out there, please come
please continue to visit us. But this is why I like working at night. Anyway, I'm going to start coating the brake calipers now. We've already cleaned those, as you saw, and then we're going to coat the wheels, put those on, and then take this off the hoist. The plan then is tomorrow get the Tesla on the hoist, finish polishing that tomorrow, and then finish the Audi afterwards. We don't need it on the hoist anymore, so I'll get all the lower bits done now, and then we can coat the Audi either tomorrow or Saturday, and it'll be ready to pick up on Sunday hopefully. And the Tesla, same deal there, that needs a bit of PPF work. But I also want to get this done, and then I want to go home and get some sleep, and see everyone tomorrow morning. Alright guys, so I'm just about done doing the side skirts. I'm pretty happy with those. They're not 100%, but really you can spend hours getting these areas perfect, and it's just not worth it for your standard detail. This is a pretty high-end job. He wants it pretty perfect, but even that, like the time that we would spend there to get it perfect is better spent elsewhere to get a more visible part of the car perfect. We used the rotary extension bars there, and I ended up using Concours Precision to cut with, and then using Meguiar's M205 to polish with. I found I was having more luck with the rotary than using the DA tool on the hybrid. Now I just wanted to say something about different paint types and cars that have had panels resprayed and whatnot. Now this car, as I mentioned, has had the front end resprayed. It's been a really good job. You can't really tell. It's been done by one of the top smash repairer in town. And for example, so this guard reacted very differently to that guard there, to the rear guard, and then you got the plastics and things like that as well. For example, the front bumper, I ended up cutting that using a microfiber pad and M205, and that left a 99% perfect finish, followed by polishing with M205 and a yellow pad. But on this guard here, because it's metal, not plastic, I found that polishing using M205 with a microfiber pad, which is what I was trying to do as an intermediate step, wasn't actually removing some of the compound haze left before from the previous step. So I had to step it up to D300 to remove the compound haze, and that left a real nice finish that would almost be perfect. But me being me, I'm just going to polish the whole thing again with a yellow pad and a Roops yellow pad and M205. This door, I haven't done this yet, but on the other side, I've done the door, and using a Roops yellow pad with M205 for polishing was working wonderfully. So it just goes to show that different paint types, resprayed versus OEM paint, plastic versus metal panels, all react differently, and you've got to be able to adapt and work out, be flexible in what you're using. It's no point just having, you know, 2 polishes and pads and say this is what I always use, because that won't always work. That being said, for the first 3 years that I was polishing cars, all I used was M105 and M205 and whatever pads, I think some Lake Country pads, and I basically learned to use those really, really well. And if I got into a situation where they wouldn't work, tough luck, I'd have to make it work. So all the guys just starting out, I'd recommend choosing 2 polishes, HD polish, HD cut, M205, M105, something from the Angel Wax range, 2 polishes, maybe 3, and 2 or 3 pads, learning to use them, and then before you start having too many. Otherwise you can have basically too much choice. In fact, up there I've got a whole box full of polishes and compounds that I've collected over the years that I don't use anymore, and that's just because over the years I've learned what I like, and my go-to tends to be M205 or M101, M105, D300, Angel Wax, and you'll need the Concours Precision. D300, if you don't know, is advertised as a one-step kind of compound. It's more aggressive than 205, less than 105. It's really nice and hard European paints as a one-stepper. Really recommend it. All right, I don't know, is it day 3, day 4? It's Friday. I've had the Audi since Monday, working at Monday, a bit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now Friday. So I suppose let's discount Tuesday. It's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So day 4 on the Audi. Bear in mind the last 2 days we spent probably 18 hours on the car. So yeah, anyway,
Just the final things to go. We're just going to be polishing the car today. I've had to take it down off the hoist because the Tesla wheels are getting painted, but that shouldn't take too long. But we're going to be doing the interior. The car's not actually booked in for an interior job, but I don't like seeing cars leave, you know, less than perfect. So I'm just going to give the interior a quick once over. And once we do that, we'll put the car back in the hoist once the Tesla wheels arrive and finish polishing any final bits. I'll duck off to Audi later today, get some new badges, take the existing badges off, polish around them, and then apply the new badges, and then we should all be good to go for tomorrow or Sunday. So it's 10 a.m, so let's get moving. So as you can see, the interior is not in terrible condition. All it really needs is a quick vacuum, taking the mats out. We're going to give the steering wheel a nice clean. The steering wheel feels a little bit greasy, a little bit looks a little bit shiny, so getting that looking good always feels nice. The driver sits in, they see their car, and they feel it straight away, and they see that it feels fresh and like new. So top tip, every car that comes in will always give the steering wheel a quick wipe down to give that feeling. Give the leather a bit of a wipe. The leather here, we'll show you some close-up soon, is a bit slippery, a bit greasy, a bit shiny, so we'll remove all that. That's kind of, you know, years of leather conditioners, and then also body fats and oil, not body fats, but oils and things like that, and dirt and muck that gets accumulated. This is a 2012 model, bear in mind, so, you know, I don't think that the interior's had much love. And other than that, we'll just give it a quick good once over, get it smelling good. We're not going to be coating it or anything like that, just give it a nice freshen up so that when the customer sits in the car, it feels like a nice place to be. Alright, to do the interior, we're going to be using a combination of G-Technic Tri-Clean antibacterial cleaner and Dr. Leather wipes. I've already done a section here, so you can see this is all dirty. I'll hold that up there, hopefully it focuses. And this is what a fresh wipe looks like, all nice and white. So you can see these do pick up a lot of dirt. They're very, you know, reasonably cheap. And easy to use. Unfortunately, they're not available locally, so you have to buy them online from England, but shipping is good. But yeah, G-Technic Tri-Clean and Dr. Leather wipes, real good combination for interiors, of course, coupled with a good vacuum cleaner. Alright, so I've just done a 50-50 of the leather. We've got before on the top and after on the bottom. You can see how before the leather looks you know, shiny, greasy, not nice, not OEM, but here we've got a nice factory matte finish there. So this just shows you the years of accumulated dirt and grime on the leather and the importance that deep cleaning can have. We've vacuumed inside there as well. It's all nice and looking fresh. So we're going to continue just cleaning the front leather seats, and it should be a nice place to sit when done. It will smell fresh, and we'll probably end up using some Optimum leather and fabric, not leather and fabric, Optimum leather and vinyl protectant to protect it all. Time to give this place a quick clean up. It's really messy, and I hate mess and disorganization around the shop, but it's been such a hectic week. So anyone out there who good at cleaning up and wants to help me out, please contact me. But a quick cup of tea, clean up, and then get this off the hoist, get the Audi back on to finish that off, and get it ready for pickup tomorrow. Alright, I've given the shop a quick clean, put away all the dirty microfibers and then into the washing machine. All the pads are away. I'll show you that right now actually. So this here is the bucket of dirty pads that will need washing. Luckily I have a lot more, so I wanted to wash them right now. So the plan now, torque up the wheel nuts. I just checked the Tesla forums. 175 Newton meters is the spec. Put the caps back on and then put it out and get it ready for pickup tomorrow morning. And then get the RS5 on there, polish it. I'll probably coat that tomorrow morning as well. Get it all done, and then I'm gonna sleep and get ready for Monday. And yeah, I mean right now it's 3:30 a.m. on Saturday night / Sunday morning. So it's been a hectic week. I kind of overbooked myself, overcommitted myself this week, but hopefully it's worth it. I think it has been. I think the RS5 just looks absolutely stunning. It's standing here and I can't stop looking at it. and it's not even polished yet or coated. So let's do that. Alright, we've just taken the Tesla off the hoist, put the Audi back on. The Tesla is sitting there ready to be picked up. It looks fantastic. Back to the Audi now. First thing is replace the badges, or take the old badges off, polish around that area, and then install these new badges which I picked up from Audi yesterday, and then we'll continue with the final polishing. I'll probably coat the car in the morning, yeah, all right, let's get cracking. It's getting really late, and I do need some sleep. Alright guys, so we've just finished replacing the badges and polishing around those areas. Now I'm going to start final polishing the whole car. To do that, I've decided upon a combination of Meguiar's M205, the old favorite, along with a Roops yellow polishing pad. I'm going to be using this pad here, it's brand new. And we're going to be using that on the Roops Duetto. The reason for that is the Duetto has a 12mm throw as opposed to 21, and from my testing, the 21 was also leaving a really like almost perfect finish. The 12mm was leaving a slightly nicer finish, ever so slightly. So we're going to go with that, and we're using a brand new pad, A, to make sure there's no contamination, but B, the brand new pad is a bit stiffer than the older pads, and on soft paints, funnily enough, sometimes a stiffer pad is better due to the way it can break down the abrasives, and it doesn't it transfers the force from the machine a lot better. So before we do that, we're just going to blow the car down to get rid of any dust and things like that have built up on the car, and then we'll begin final polishing. Alright guys, we've just about finished correcting and polishing the paint. I thought this was a good time to do the interior to finish it off. We're not coating it today, we're going to be using Optimum Leather and Vinyl. I think it's called Optimum Protectant Plus now. I still call it Leather and Vinyl because that's what it used to be called. Really simple to use, this stuff smells great, leaves a beautiful matte, semi-sheeny finish. Looks factory, looks OEM, smells great, isn't slippery, isn't greasy. I just spray a few squirts onto a microfiber pad, or you can use anything really, or a cloth. So we literally just apply it like this, getting in all the cracks and crevices. We use it on the leather, the plastic, vinyl, everything really. And there's no need to wipe this off. You literally just rub it in and walk away. It will look greasy, but we'll come back to it later. It'll be a beautiful finish, and will smell great as well. Restores that nice leathery smell to the car interior. So polishing is now complete. We're going to give the car a wipe down using Car Pro Eraser, followed by Optimum Prep Solution, and then time to coat it. We'll also have to clean all the polishing dust out of all the cracks and crevices and whatnot, since we didn't wash the car, but that should be a pretty easy job. The car is looking absolutely fantastic, so let's continue and get ready for coating. Alright, so I was just cleaning the guy's engine bay, and the engine cover plastic thing just came off. It's because these clips weren't attached correctly, so it's a matter of taking them off, like so, and then clipping them into place there correctly, like that. Alright guys, so after what seems like an unending amount of paint correction, I think
I think we're finally ready to begin coating. Being a black car, dust and whatnot and marring is a concern, so I'll be using this brand new towel here to wipe down every panel again before we coat it, just to remove any dust that may have settled in the minutes between panels. But yeah, it's 1:48 a.m. Car is due to be picked up tomorrow, so let's start applying the opti-coat, and in the time that between the opti-coat and the Pro Plus, we'll give the glass a quick polish and apply some rain repellent coating on the glass as well. Alright guys, so we have opti-coat pro'd the car, let it cure for a bit. In the meantime, I've applied a glass coating to the front and the rear windscreen, and also cleaned the outside glass as well. Now it's been about 45 minutes to an hour. It's time to apply the Pro Plus, and then we're going to call it a night. Alright guys, so it's the next day. The opti-coat is cured overnight. I've just given the car a quick spray and wipe, just to you know, again, add some more protection whilst the coating cures, a bit of gloss, and also remove any dust that settled overnight. I'm just going to get it ready now for the customer to pick up, and yeah, so check out the finished shots now. That was this Audi RS5. I spent over 40 hours paint correcting this thing. Still didn't get to 100%, but it's between 90 and 95. Some places are 99%, some places are 95, some are about 90. The key is to really concentrate on the areas that give you the maximum visual impact. Obviously we can do 100% correction, but really the time required for that is essentially unlimited. But yeah, we had this here for a week, spent about 40 hours on it. We also took the wheels off, we had them refurbed, the faces were looking a little worse for wear, and then we also did a quick once over in the interior and the engine bay. Thanks for watching guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, please ask below, or hit me up on info@obsessioncardetailing.com, and I'll see you on our next video. Thanks.